I've just had the brand new M3 MacBook Air turn up on my doorstep. So let's get it unboxed, let's check it out and see what this year's model is all about. Unified memory, 256 gigabytes of storage. So this is as cheap as a laptop as you can buy from Apple. So let's dive into the specs to see who this laptop's going to be perfect for. This year's M3 MacBook Air lineup isn't massively different. However, there are some key differences that I think is important for you to understand, trying to make a decision around whether it's worth upgrading or not. And the first is the M3 chip. Apple are claiming it's 20% faster than the M2 chip, and it's almost 38% faster than the M1 generation of laptops. The M3 chips are also coming with ray tracing, so if you are going to be using this device for gaming, you're going to see quite a big improvement in the quality of the games that you're going to be playing. Ray tracing is all about the ability for the computer to understand how light interacts within a virtual environment. So you're going to see a much more realistic use of light within a game. So the reflections are going to be better, the sunlight's going to be better, and all around you're going to have a better experience using the M3 chip for gaming than you have done for the M2 or the M3 chip. One of the big features that Apple announced for the M3 MacBook Air lineup was the fact that when you've got it in clamshell mode with the lid closed, you can connect up to 2 displays. Now for some of you that's going to be absolutely game changing. Having to use 2 screens sometimes is really helpful depending on your workflow. So if you're going to need that ability to connect to 2 devices, that M3 MacBook Air is going to be one of the standout performers for you, with it only going to be costing £1,099 in the UK. Getting that access and getting that ability to connect to 2 screens for that price point with an M3 chip could be quite tempting if that does fit your workflow. One of the final differences for the M3 generation of laptops is Wi-Fi 6E. It's going to offer you 2 times faster Wi-Fi speeds, so that's something that you could potentially notice on a daily basis if you've got a router that supports that capability. Apple this year claims to have reduced the amount of fingerprints that you're going to see on the MacBook Air lineup. They've got their new anodization process for adding the colour to all of their MacBook lineup, and from my early testing and my early playing is that it does make a difference. However, they are still quite visible. You've got to catch it in the right light, you've got to get the right reflections, but you can still really see them. Whilst Apple have made some improvements to the MacBook Air lineup, there are some things that they haven't changed, and I don't think they need to. The first thing being the form factor. The MacBook Air with the M3 chip still has that absolutely classic MacBook Air design that everyone has come to know and love. It is so light and portable, and with me only having the 13.6 inch display, the form factor is so compact and so small that it is super portable. So if you're going to be needing to take this thing around with you, to stick it in your laptop bag, to carry it around, and you don't want to notice this big thing on your back that you're going to be lugging around everywhere, that is one of the big things for the MacBook Air, is that fact. It is so light, it is so portable. The ports on the M3 MacBook Air are identical to last year's M2 model. You've got your MagSafe connector, you've got 2 USB-C Thunderbolt connections with up to 40 gigabytes per second transfer speed, And then the other thing you've got on the device is a 3.5mm audio jack. Very simple. You are going to need a dongle. You are going to have to carry that around with you. But the fact that this laptop is so light, the fact it's so portable and it's so thin, the fact you're going to have to just stick a dongle in your bag isn't that much of a compromise when everything else about the form factor of this laptop is absolutely stunning. This year's MacBook Air is still coming with exactly the same screen technology, but that doesn't matter. It's still a brilliant screen to use, and the thing is, for the vast majority of people who are going to be using this device, the screen is going to be completely adequate. It's not like I'm doing photo editing where I want the most perfect, crisp and accurate image quality I can possibly get, because this laptop isn't designed for that. This laptop is for students, light users who don't necessarily need all of that extra technology baked into the display. So my initial impressions of the M3 MacBook Air are very, very positive. It is a genuinely fantastic laptop. However, should you upgrade? Here's the thing. Probably not. If you're rocking the M1 or the M2 MacBook Air, you probably don't need to upgrade to this generation of chip. You are going to get an increase in performance, yes, but it's not significant enough. And Apple have shot themselves in the foot when they blew everyone out of the park when they released the M1 chip, because it was so far ahead of everyone else in the market that they couldn't keep up with that level of increase. What I would say is, if you've got a MacBook Air that's rocking an Intel chip, or if you've got other damage or the batteries started to drain on your device, then if you were to consider the M2 or the M3, I'd go for the M3 device. In the UK, the M3 device is starting at £1,099, and you can get the M2 MacBook Air for £999. So for £100, you're going to be able to get the M3 chip that's clearly going to last you longer into the future. So it future-proofs you better, and it's going to last you longer. But if you've got an M1 or an M2 already and it's working totally fine, probably hold out. So I only bought the M3 MacBook Pro a couple of months ago, and I've done a full review on my initial thoughts on the 8GB baseline M3 MacBook Pro, and I'll link it here so you can watch it. So what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks is comparing the M3 MacBook Air and the M3 MacBook Pro. So make sure that you subscribe, because I'm going to see if you actually do see a benefit for the extra money that you'd have to pay for the Pro lineup compared to just the MacBook Air. So make sure you subscribe, because I've got a real good feeling that's going to be a very interesting video. Speak soon. Out.